This last year was incredibly transformative for Rise Against, as we generally spent the past 20 years traveling from show to show. Overnight, our tours ended. No more meeting fans, no more one-night hotel stays, no more thrusting my fist to thousands packed into stadiums. Sweat-drenched t-shirts and amped-up audiences were traded for family dinners and quiet time while writing and recording our 9th album. Albums need a central theme that encapsulates an artist's worldview, and 2020 offered a myriad of topics to choose from. As I puttered around, I would notice my daughters spending time with their friends, ordering food from their phones, their excitement as hot fudge sundaes were delivered straight to the house magically. It was a stark difference to the interactions that I had with my friends decades ago. As I searched for that theme, something beyond the pandemic and politics kept gnawing at me. And finally it hit me. Generations. Over the years, I sat on the sidelines for one too many jokes about the younger generations and their lack of responsibility, their self-importance, and inability to thrive. But this narrative seemed too reductive to describe the people that I was interacting with at our concerts around the world. Young people alive today were born shortly after a period of relative economic and political stability. There was an expectation that the next generation would be better off than the one that had come before. Instead, their era has been defined by mass instability while they are looking for something, somewhere, and ending up nowhere, fast. The nowhere generation. For as long as I can remember, the motto, sold to the masses, has been to put their nose to the grind and burn the candle at both ends, like previous generations did. But for the nowhere generation, they keep finding the light snuffed out at the end of the tunnel. The world economy demands that they acquire expensive, advanced degrees for dwindling jobs with fewer benefits. They are asked to keep up with impossible lifestyles promoted on social media, endless self-care remedies, and no real solution to the roots of their depression or anxiety. All of this to make them more efficient cogs in the machined world not designed for their lives. We are the kids that no one wants. This machine, this shareholder primacy, continues to outsource jobs to the lowest bidder, reaping the benefits of human rights abuses to subsidize the low cost of consumer products. Meanwhile, the nowhere generation has been told to monetize their hobby into a second job that has been given a glamorous title, the side hustle. As the idea of an equitable system is replaced by one designed to benefit the few, the nowhere generation will either drift away from civil society or demand that these algorithms of discontent are disrupted by any means necessary. Across the world, we have seen uprisings beginning to demand the change necessary to make that equitable system a reality. We are a credible threat to the rules you set, a cause to be alarmed. The questions I asked on our 9th album have to do with how we are seeding the future, how much success or failure have to do with one's agency, and how much has to do with the structure of the institutions we are all corralled into every day. Our world will only be as successful as our efforts to make it a more equitable place with as many possible outcomes for success. If we want the nowhere generation to invest in the institutions that make a functioning society, then they need to be a part of the future we plan to build. As I watched my daughters this past year, I realized it is not my job to dictate the terms of their futures, rather to provide them with the tools to thrive on their own. That thought process comes with an understanding that the challenges I faced were not the same as the ones they will face, that the solutions to my problems will not solve theirs. We are the nowhere generation. We are the kids that no one wants. We are a credible threat to the rules you set, a cause to be alarmed. We are not the names that we've been given, We speak a language you don't know. We are at a crossroads where generational divide, technological advancement, and class warfare are pulling society apart at the seams. And while all hope can easily be lost, I've been lucky enough to have a front row seat to the front row seats, to see the incredible, vibrant people that make up the Nowhere generation. Their energy and enthusiasm are undeniable. They are smart, nimble, and ready to right the wrongs with an eye on the future. They've inspired me in my most cynical moments and convinced me that there is a reason to hope. They are the light at the end of the tunnel, burning gently. And instead of trying to douse them out, we should be feeding their flames.